I have a feeling that He-Man didn't have to comb through eternity very much to find himself this hero. Here's a look at the Mattel He-Man and Master Universe cartoon collection. Buzz-Off, heroic spy in the sky. It's an exciting time to be a Master Universe fan. For longtime fans and for a new generation of kids that love the action and adventure, it's time to experience the thrilling action and adventure of He-Man, Skeletor, the Secrets of Castle Grayskull, and much more. The figures in this collection stand at 5.5 inches tall and have 16 movable joints, so they're highly posable for imaginative and action-oriented fun. I think I have an idea now who's been hoarding all of Randor's royal honey. Rayman? No, not Ram-Man. Let's, though, take the tape measure and see how tall the cartoon collection Buzz-Off actually stands. The answer, by the way, was Buzz-Off. It wasn't Ram-Man. The figure, though, is going to stand about the same as most cartoon collection figures. I'll be bringing a couple in for examples. But first things first, the figure's going to stand about 5 3/4 of an inch in height, or roughly about 14.5 centimeters tall. How about we bring in, first of all, the Origins Buzz-Off for comparison's sake. Different bodies altogether. I mean, you could maybe look at one and think, if anything, they're probably reusing the claw pieces. The lower legs are clearly completely different, and they're using completely new sets of wings. Let's bring in then He-Man for comparisons. I've still really yet to change out the head that came included with Faker. Just sort of swap the bodies around, because Faker really, if you haven't seen my review of that, go check that out. Faker definitely has the better looking He-Man body. Here's Ram-Man, not the hoarder of the honey, not the one that was stealing all the honey goods. Here's also what he looks like with Man-at-Arms. Let's bring in Teela here as well. I think we're going to be bringing in everybody that's made up so far the cartoon collection that are of the good side, not the bad side. Here's Many Faces. I really like the look of Many Faces. Just get him to properly stand. And finally, I didn't want to block things off, but here's also what they look like with Stratos. Some things do come included with Buzz-Off. Let's look at those some things right now. The figure comes included with the paper pamphlets. What's on the paper pamphlets, Magic Storyteller? Well, let's just have a look here. You already know, I'm sure, by now. Everything that's marked in gray, muchachos, would be the things that you would be able to swap off, mix and match with other cartoon collection figures, or for that matter, ... You can also mix them as well with the Origins figures' bodies, too, because they're using basically the same peg system. The head, the lower legs, and the limbs on the sides, pop those off, and do whatever you want with them. I'm going to just basically keep them on Buzz-Off's body for right now. As for what I'm going to be doing with this, there it goes. The figure does also come included with a mini comic. This one's entitled Vengeance. Looking and reading Vengeance reminds me actually of a small film production that we did actually in high school. It was called My Dear Vengeance. My Dear Vengeance. It was about a ninja that was going door to door selling, I think, newspapers. I guess they were first offering up the subscription service to anybody that was interested. A couple of people have turned it down. So then the ninja basically exacts My Dear Vengeance, and he goes around and just basically starts killing people. By today's standards, I don't know if you could really promote a movie that would have somebody, even a ninja, going door to door, killing people, if they weren't subscribing to his newspaper service. That's a tangent. Not much more to say really about that, but we will certainly talk a little bit more about the mini comic. The comic, I'm guessing, is advertised. This is the guy that actually has drawn this. Is this the first time that we've actually seen this artist's name? Is Lahi? On the front, there's She-Ra, and there looks to be also as well Skeletor, who looks almost like he's about to change into Brainiac. What are we doing here? Mixing and matching the mediums. Inside, though, the comic, you can see that there's an advertisement for Hordak and his praying mantis. I can't remember the name of that vehicle. Skeletor down below here as well. Oh, okay. That's not Brainiac. You can see down below. That's not Brainiac. There's Sorceress. Yeah. It's a whole bunch of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff going on here. In the end, though, you can see like Skeletor's got some rather interesting stuff going on here. Even though there's Hordak bats. Horde bats. I had no idea. But basically that's... Oh, and one thing that's kind of cool, too, is that they advertise Keldor inside. I'm sure we're probably not going to be getting a Keldor. Certainly not in the cartoon collection. We have gotten, though, a Keldor and Kronos 2-pack. Didn't also do the review of that. Advertised on the back, though, is the evil Lord of Destruction, Skeletor himself. Looking a little more worried, looking a little more transparent. You know he's telling a fib when you can see right through him. Buzz-Off and also Frosta, the Ice Empress of Etheria. I'm having a hard time really getting that all out. Let's put the mini comic, though, off to the side. Getting all out, the other accessories, the figure does also come included with his joust. His joust. Yeah, it was, unfortunately, though, warped. You can see it's got a little hook on the end of it. This, unfortunately, doesn't fit well in his hands at all. I mean, I'm looking at the end of the handle here, and I would imagine gauging it based on, at least on these little notches. These notches serve some purpose as to fitting them into the figure's hands. It seems still more to be a mystery and a riddle, because I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, like, there's real no way to properly fit this in his hands. I thought, okay, if I put this in and then I slightly twist it, maybe that might be enough to hold it in place. But if it does anything, it just more frustrates me. And you can see, like, it doesn't really even hold it in there. What I might just end up doing, though, is that you can really have, like Buzz Off, if you have one end of the joust in his hand, or his claws, if you prefer, and then do the other side as well, it seems to be enough to kind of hold it all in place. And then the joust isn't going to be going anywhere. Let's move that off to the side. No other assembly was actually required to this. The wings are already permanently attached to the figure. They actually work by having this piece looks like it would probably have been put over top of then the wings, and then the wings would have been attached onto peg holes on the insides of the figure's body. A contrast, though, to what we got here with the Origins Buzz Off. Buzz Off's basically, when it came to his wings, they would have been attached on this way to line up the holes like a key shape, and then you would have just turned this to prevent the wings from falling off. It's a more simpler way of designing the wings, and obviously from his wings, he only had really 2 of them. Buzz Off, though, in the cartoon collection, does actually have those wings then times 2. So, of course, he does have 4 instead of just the 2. They're sort of translucent. It kind of looks like a candy. You know when you've had a candy in your mouth for a long period of time, and maybe after a while the candy starts to get really sharp? You ever had that? You go to like a restaurant, you get a mint, for example, it starts sucking away on the mint, and then it gets like sharp, rigid on the sides, and you think to yourself, I'm going to cut the inside of my mouth, and you basically just spit it out. Preferably not still inside the establishment. Don't do that in someone's dwellings. But yeah, you spit it usually out in the parking lot, and then it's always fun to kind of see the candy hit the ground and just shatter into a billion pieces. What were we talking about? Oh yes, the wings. The wings are transparent, as you can see. They're more of a translucent yellow plastic. They fold in together as well, so if you kind of want to have them more together and less as a separate pair, you can do that also as well. I obviously would just prefer to have the wings wide like this, leaving a good gap in between both the top and the bottom of the wings. One other thing that also comes included with Buzz Off too, and it's kind of neat, is that he does have these goggles. Now, out of the packaging, it may not look like these goggles are movable and perhaps maybe molded to the figure's face. No, not at all. You can actually bring them down. How about that? I actually kind of like the look of them, I think, more down than up, although it does unfortunately rob the figure of some really nice looking blue that makes up the front of the figure's face. Get some brown there on the side there as well. It's a very different look to Buzz Off, clearly, though, than the toy. The toy basically had just something actually looked more like a dragonfly and less like a bumblebee. Bzzz. I do like the look of the blue eyes, though. So some may choose not to have the goggles down just because you don't want to get away with those baby blues. Don't lose those baby blues. Mrs. LaRusso liked Daniel's baby blues. Come on, I want to see Daniel's baby blues. Baby blues. Of course, he had the black eyes. He had to hide that while eating and drinking his oatmeal. What was it, an oatmeal? No, he was drinking, I think, his OJ. Mama LaRusso basically said, like, Daniel, I want to see your baby blues. Come on, let me see your baby blues. Boy, this review's going off on so many different tangents. The body looks like it's probably using another master's body. Where's my He-Man? Where's my He-Man? He-Man's just down here. I want to bring in He-Man. Yeah, it looks like they're probably using He-Man's body. Same arms, obviously different claws. I mean, He-Man never had claws. I don't think he plans to change that anytime soon. So they've painted this, alternating the colors of the brown and the yellow. Yellow looks good. It looks like it's a little nicer up at the top. It doesn't look as nice right around here. Yellow doesn't match at all the coloring of the top of his loincloth, but the colors look still good for Buzz Off. Of course, the colors also do match for his arms and his legs. They're a little bit lighter, though. Get your blasted wings out of the way. They're a little bit lighter, as you can see, plastic-wise. But it does look like they are probably using the same arms. The thing that's different, though, about them is you can see, like, Origins Buzz Off not only had, like, the little scales sticking out, but he also had furrier lower forearms, whereas this Buzz Off, the cartoon collection, doesn't have that. The lower legs are also something very different as well. So he's got more the smaller monster feet. He doesn't have these sort of webbed feet that the Origins figure would have also had. For the figure's articulation, Buzz Off does have a head rotation. It is, after all, on a ball joint all the way around. It does look down. It looks up as well. I mean, you would hope, though, that a figure that's going to be able to fly. Although, putting in very fine print, no, don't throw the figure. The figure doesn't actually fly. Of course, this, I don't know if you would consider this to really be posability, but the goggles do go up and down. Figure does have a waist swivel. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. The arms rotate somewhat all the way around if you get the blasted wings out of the way. They can also hinge out at a T-pose. Figure does have a single hinge, only just a single hinge in his forearm, but that forearm, yes, in fact, does rotate all the way around. The hands also rotate. Oh, sorry. The claws rotate all the way around. The claw. Hinges also back and forth there as well. Legs split out. Standard levels of posability expected here. Standard levels of posability is what exactly you'll get. Swing out the legs they go. About a Van Damme splits for that. You can take, of course, the legs moving forward, move them back, swivel to the top of the thigh, single hinge on the knee. Couldn't help but notice, like, the lower legs here for Buzz Off are a little on the loosey side. So loose, so quick. So sad. Yes, unfortunately, the lower legs are a little tad loose on Buzz Off. The feet do rotate all the way around. So there's an ankle pivot up and down, an ankle rocker back and forth. And yeah, would you believe? The figure does have also peg holes on the undersides of his feet. Good looking figure overall. If you are collecting the cartoon collection figures here, then I'm sure it's a no-brainer. You're going to be also getting Buzz Off as well. He looks as well the part. I mean, he looks like he does in the cartoon. Unfortunately, though, in a case like this, even though the figure is really advertised on the back of the packaging as appearing in disappearing dragons, I think perhaps maybe outside of his joust, I think that's the only thing the figure comes included with that you could hark back to that episode. It would have been nice, granted, if they could have include some other accessories. I don't expect big honeycombs, big dripping vats of honey, but at the very least, maybe they could have included one other accessory. I think if you were to look at the Mattel team and if you were to sit down with them, you probably would ask them, well, why didn't you include more accessories with Buzz Off? They probably would have explained in length, that the figure would have also had the additional wings. So that's the cost of the budget right there. The wings have to be factored in, of course, when it comes to the budgeting of the figure. And that's probably one of the reasons why he only got relegated to the joust, which unfortunately, again, just doesn't properly peg into the figure's hands. I mean, again, they kind of give the idea that there's something there. This is where it's supposed to tap into the figure's claws. I can't get them to do that. I've been doing this for like the last hour or so, and I can't get the blasted joust to peg properly into his hands. It wasn't as much the case when we had to look at the origins Buzz Off. Buzz Off did have a thing that eventually you could get into the claw. You can't really quite do that, I find, with the cartoon collection release of him. But man, oh man, he's still a nice looking figure if you get the chance to grab one. Suffering with a rather stubborn joust is about the only issue I really have with cartoon collection Buzz Off. For the rest of the figure and everything else that's on him, he works really quite well. The wings at least are self-contained, so it looks clean at least on the back as well. I mean, there's nothing really on the figure that as an armor detaches. So he's one of the few exceptions actually from the cartoon collection where something actually comes off of him. I guess technically you could really remove the goggles, but who in their right mind is going to be doing that? Oh, unless you really like his baby blues. Are we going to still talking about that? No, we're not going to keep talking about that. Now this figure wave is going to be the same wave, of course, that's going to have Frosta and a transparent Skeletor. Good news though is that we're going to be also looking at those two figures in upcoming videos. Have you guys had the chance to pick up Buzz Off? Let me know down below in the comment section between this one and the original Origins Buzz Off, which you think is a better looking design. If you guys did enjoy this video, you can do us certainly a solid by hitting it with a like. If you guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course if you did want to stick around for those remaining Masters reviews and of course all the other goodies that come to this channel regularly, yeah, make sure you're coming back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.